Hey all, today I have some really fun guests on, Bjorn Englen and Mike Cancino, or Mike Cancino. I don't actually know them, and today was the first day that I met them. My friend James introduced me to them, James Grover. He said, "You gotta have Bjorn on, he's got this great new project," and the name of the band's called Soul Sign. I know a little bit more about Bjorn. He's played with Quiet Riot and Yngwie Malmsteen, and who's also from Sweden. He's done a lot of things, but this project that he's in now, Soul Sign, is something it's a real passion project for him, and they have this new group of songs coming out. I'm looking forward to hearing his music when it comes out in the next week or so. And like I said, I'll have links for that under the podcast. But yeah, today was my first day meeting Bjorn and Mike, and they're really nice guys. And I think you're going to enjoy our little interview. And we talk about music, we talk about the projects that they've been in, and what's so great about Soul Sign, and why they all click and they all mesh, and they feel like they found their musical soulmates, as it were. So I think you're really going to enjoy this interview with Bjorn Englen and Mike Cancino coming up next. Welcome to my podcast, where I'll be speaking with guests candidly about interesting topics. So join me on Candid with Kimbra. Today I have some really interesting guests, Bjorn Englen and Mike Cancino, right? I'm saying that correctly?
That's correct.
All right. Yeah. I know a little bit about Bjorn because we have a mutual friend, James, who told me about you, James Grover. And he was telling me about you, Bjorn, and you've been you're originally from Sweden, right?
Correct. Yep.
How old were you when you came over here?
Oh, I was just a baby, 21. So, yeah.
Did you study music in Sweden?
Not much. I mean, I played in a lot of bands. I was mostly self-taught
Mhm.
and would pick up, back then there was really not a lot of books or I mean, I'd be watching these instructional videos. There was a big line of Mike will tell you all about it called Starlicks back in the day, when all these rock stars would put out these VHS videos. And so I'd be watching that a little bit at this music store that I worked at, and
Uh-huh.
I was also a customer. I used to hang out there, so I'd watch a little bit of that, and but mostly just being in bands, and the guitar players would show me like, oh, here's an A minor scale, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But there was no book. I had no books. I had almost no lessons. I took very few lessons. I had a couple of guys early on that taught me, got me on the right track, and showed me some really good habits, and I'm forever grateful.
All right.
One of them I'm still friends with, and he's an awesome guy, great musician. But the other guy, I can't remember. I'm trying to figure out who he is, his name and all that stuff. But he was also just really helpful. Just took very few lessons from them, but sort of got on the right track, learned how to play the blues and correct fingering and stuff like that. And other
So,
than that, I was pretty much just pounding away, playing in bands and trying to, go as best I could. So coming to the United States was good. And I came and I applied and attended the Musicians Institute for 1 year. And that was good for me because I was forced to play in different styles and forced
right.
to learning more theory and reading music, which even if you know, I tell my students when I do master classes and clinics too, I tell them just learn different styles, learn as much as possible about your instrument. Don't just get into, I want to do this and, close
Like
the door
tunnel
to
vision.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, become a well-rounded musician. It's beneficial.
I think
So
it'll serve you well because I sing and I perform in different kinds of different groups, everything from like blues to jazz to like pop stuff. So, and it's fun, for me. What
I
about
agreed. Yeah.
what about you, Mike? I don't know much about you because Bjorn told me at the last minute you were joining.
So the coolest thing Bjorn just brought back a memory for the drum department. It was called Hot Licks, and
Oh,
so my favorite drum video was, and the only one I had, like Scott Travis, and I had the Tommy Aldridge videos, and then my high school friends kind of, hey Miguel, you still got those? You know what I mean? I never got them back, but those are the coolest instructional videos ever. That era, I have to say, was one of the coolest eras to grow up in musically. Everybody has their thing about it, but instructional videos were a major part of that era growing up. And whether you were learning this style of music or that or this, they were very helpful. And as Bjorn said, there was a time when, yeah, man, you got to be versatile. You got to learn. It's helpful to know more than one way.
Yeah, that's true. And it
As,
only
as
adds. It only adds. I think people can tell that you're not just like a one trick pony, right?
oh, me? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know, but I mean, and then you got the guys that go, man, I just learn one thing, and you're good. You know, it's different for everybody, but
Yeah.
definitely Bjorn hit it on the nose. That's how it was back then, and it's badass.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
I'm watching other people play and watching drummers and watching keyboard player, and you learn, like, one thing that I watch drummers do is they're used to doing something with the right hand, they flip it around and they do it with the other hand just to get the balance. And I'm going, that's so smart. And I try to apply that to bass guitar as well, to if you're used to starting with this one, well, start with this finger now, so that you get the balance, so you're equally as comfortable, in different
Yeah,
situations.
like
It's
I'm
almost
a
like a
Dorcas.
basketball player. Like, learn how to jump with either foot, because you
yeah,
never
yeah.
know when you need to, that type thing. So
Did you have something to add to that, Mike? You're shaking your head.
No, absolutely, it's great to be ambidextrous. That's the word.
Yeah, ambidextrous.
I'm a Dorcas. Uh, yeah, practiced all that in school. Bjorn's hitting all the nose stuff. I got a chance to do school band, but I did drumline. We did marching drumline. We're like really fortunate to have really awesome instructors, cool coaches. I didn't do core. I didn't get that far. That's when I started jamming in my own band. All the shred stuff kicked in. Shrapnel Records. Um, but it it definitely, yeah.
Yeah, look, you can't learn too much. Now, I know, Bjorn, you played with a lot of different groups, like, Quiet Riot. You were on tour with them a little bit, right? For a year, maybe?
I was, yeah, after I'd been here for less than a year. No, wait a second. I had been here for a year and a half. I was done with school, and I needed money, and I, I I got a job at a 24-hour gym, the Hollywood gym in Hollywood, and
I know where that is.
yeah, it still looked the same. I look through, I drive by, I look through the windows. There's nothing's changed in 30 years. It's like a time machine. You go back in time kind of thing. But it was a great place. I met so many cool people from all sorts of doing all sorts of
Walks of life.
professions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was really cool. And but one night, there was a couple of girls from Australia, and one of them, they both like to talk a lot. And one night, one girl walked in and she didn't say anything. She just threw the entertainment guide, which in LA is called the LA Weekly. She threw it on the desk, and so I worked in the front desk at the time. And she said, Quiet Riot's looking for a bass player. And I was like, well, they've been through a lot of lineup changes, and you know, but it turned out to be the big heyday Metal Health lineup, except for Rudy Sarzo was getting back together. So I applied, and I got a call in, and they got 120 tapes, and they had 40 guys that they were trying out, and then they picked me. So I was very flattered, but it was very scary because it was my first big thing, and these guys had headlined arenas before, and here am I, off the boat from Sweden, and it was intimidating, and so I did that for a short period of time, but it was cool. It was, an experience, to say the
Kind of
least.
like a
And
baptism by fire, right? That's what they say, baptism. Like,
very, very much so. I'd never been on a tour bus before, so I had to learn the rules pretty quickly, and learn what it's all about. The
wow.
travel, and the grind, and people think it's so glamorous. If That's probably the one thing people should be warned about. Becoming musicians, it's the backside that people don't see, the 23 and a half hours off stage that the fans don't get to see.
True,
It's
true.
not there's nothing glamorous about it. I hate to say it, but
A lot of hard
if
work.
you
A
a
lot of
lot of hard work, if you can enjoy the ride, like Mike and I have talked about, like, just we love working together. If you love work, and you love the people, and you love the work in progress, whether it's recording or rehearsing or traveling, makes it so much easier. If you like the people you're around, I think that's the number one thing,
Yeah.
So.
Now, so this new group you're in, Soul Sign, right? It's called Soul Sign. So was Mike involved from the very beginning, or how did you guys assemble this group?
Well, the band was formed a very long time ago. It was actually a post Quiet Riot formation,
Oh.
but early on, I formed the band with a dear friend of mine, and we started writing songs. Um, and we had a hard time finding drummers. I wish I would have known Mike back then. Mike wasn't that far away, but there was no internet back then. There was no Facebook. We didn't know of each other.
We're doing the
Of
same thing,
course,
bro. Just 2 hours away.
yes, which is nothing in the United States, right? It's that's local, So, um, yeah, and the band just got held up by everybody once we got a sort of a lineup together. Got held up by everybody being a session guy and busy doing other things. So we made an album, and after the first album, I met Mike, and Mike has been in the band ever since, and it's been a long, really cool ride. And this lineup with Mike and Rob and Mark is very solid and musically and personally and everything. So it's
Mhm.
been great. But Mike uh, is definitely an anchor in the band, and without Mike, this lineup or this band wouldn't be what it is. So
I can tell Mike's got positive energy. I can tell.
yes, very much so.
Speaking of,
I'm going to interrupt real quick. Like, while Bjorn was doing quite right before I think he might have joined my band, we started doing all these original shows out here. There's not many places to play in Palm Springs in the early 90s. We barely got an arena like a few
right,
years ago.
right.
We got Thursday Night Rock Night. My original band, we opened up for Quiet Riot. It was the funniest thing. The drum tech, all he did is make fun of my big drum kit. But no, we did it. It was awesome. two
Oh,
hours away.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Soul Sign, the new record you have, it's called Desert Fire, right? Desert Fire. And
Yes.
it came out March 21st, but you're slowly releasing songs. Like you got another one coming out right at the end of the week, I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, the album's coming out April 4th, but our last single, Negative
Oh,
Thoughts, came on the 21st of
I see.
March. So yeah, so second single off the record. The first one is called Clean Soil. That's been out a while, and then we're releasing a third single the day of the album release. It's
Yeah.
called Lost Vegas. So yeah, the Desert Fire title is very much sums up most of the all of the tracks on the album, and it's sort of very suiting title for the record for various reasons.
So I listened to it just before I got on actually, and it's pretty straightforward ahead, straight ahead, I would say rock, commercial rock. But how is it different, do you think, than things you've done in the past or other albums you've done in the past? Or is it?
Well, I think Negative Thoughts is a more, it's heavy, but it's more one of the more poppy
Mm.
songs. It's very different from the rest of the tracks. I think they're all different, by the way, but it was written very spontaneously. Mike and I wrote the music just by jamming, and you know, it just came out, so to speak. But I think that this album is more where we need to be. The last album was maybe a little darker, a
Mm.
little slower paced. This is more back to where we came from. Where we all came from. Classic, melodic, hard rock, you know, and the stuff we grew up with, and the stuff that comes naturally to
Yeah.
us. So
Are you guys the primary songwriters, you and Mike, or just everybody kind of dabble in it?
I would say, yeah, music wise, I write most of the lyrics, and uh, but we want on the next record, we'd like everybody to be more involved in the
Hmm.
songwriting, and we've already started writing stuff as we're rehearsing for other things. We're start jamming and stuff like that, and we got hundreds of ideas already. So I think the next one will be. Uh, I wouldn't say easier, but it would be, yeah, yeah, maybe easier. We have a lot of ideas, so it won't be that it's a good problem to have.
Yeah. My friend James was telling me that one of your members was in a band called Player. Was that Mike or another?
That's Rob, the guitar player. Yeah, he's
Oh,
he's been in player for, oh my God, 15 years probably at least. Yeah.
Right. They had a big hit. I remember James was telling me.
Baby Comeback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would that be considered yacht rock? I don't know.
It is yacht rock. It's funny. Um, I met a dear friend of mine has a bar out in Guam, out of all places,
Oh
which is
wow.
very far. Yeah. And
Gotcha.
he said, I can't bring the whole band, but I can bring two of you. So I said, well, I'll bring the guitar player. And we actually performed that song out there. It was just me and him doing like an acoustic set and stuff. So we did Baby Come Back and a bunch of other songs. But yeah, the players definitely like what they considered a yacht rock
Yeah, yeah.
band. And
Have you guys
yeah,
seen that special on Netflix? I think it's on Netflix. It's the Yacht Rock documentary. It's got like Kenny Loggins and everybody. It's pretty good.
I haven't seen it. I'd like to see it. That sounds great.
Yeah, I actually I was at NAM this year and someone took me to dinner with Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers, you know.
Yes.
Oh
That
yeah.
that was
Uh,
awesome. Like respect,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
oh, he's awesome. I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl about 7 years ago.
Wow. He still got
He was great, man. It was great.
so humble. Like, he's like, I'm not really a keyboard player and and we're like, what? You know.
Mm, yeah. What a talent, man.
I know.
Ooh.
So Mike, what other bands have you played with? Because we didn't really talk about that. What's your musical history?
Broke out in what is it? Late 90s, 97, 98. My band UNIDA, UNIDA, is
Ah,
with former lead singer John Garcia of Caius, myself and my guitar player, Arthur C. We put it together. We got two independent records not to Euro. We got a major label deal. We're active. We're bringing out the label deal again. It's just it's a band that used to work really good and stopped working, and we're bringing it back together. That's what I do over there.
mhm.
Um, and let's see. I hooked up with Bjorn about not too long ago, about 13 years ago. My brother Chad. I came home from one of these tours, and my brother Chad calls me like on Wednesday. He says, "Man, I need you to sub for me this weekend." And I said, "Okay, well, it's gonna be this whole weekend, a bunch of classic rock songs." I said, "Okay." Sure enough, I had the jitters. I needed to play again. I went out there. I met Bjorn.
Ah, and that's the group
It
was.
was a it's a crazy story because I think that was the first time in my life I realized that I was religious and like literally like um I've never made more than two phone calls in my whole life to find a musician, but this time we needed a drummer. A drummer had moved to the East Coast, and we didn't have a drummer, and we had these couple of gigs come up, and they were cover gigs. We just wanted to play and get the band oiled up and stuff like that. And so I asked the guys, "Hey, you guys want to do this?" And they're like, "Okay, sure." And so the number one guy on my list was Mike's brother, Chad, and which I done some gigs with out in Palm Springs, and Chad's a great drummer, and I didn't call him because I figured, hey, Chad's busy, but he was the first one that came to mind. And so I started calling people, went down the list. I had this book of musicians, like I don't know how many drummers were, but a lot of people after, being a working musician. I started calling and nobody could do the gig. And I said, no, I can't do it, but I call this guy, he couldn't do it. And I went as far as placing ads on Craigslist
Oh my
and
gosh,
I
yeah.
think even Recycler or whatever back then, and it was online, but it wasn't that long ago. But so I couldn't find anyone. I went through Facebook. I went all kinds of places. I think literally spoke to about 35 or 40 guys,
Wow.
and nobody could do the gig. And then I said, well, I'm just going to call Chad. And I said, Chad, can you do the gig? No, but I can't do it. Well, I kind of figured, do you know someone? I said, yeah, I'll send my brother. I
Ah.
said, well, he said, no, no. He goes like, trust me, you're going to love him. And Mike pulled up outside and he runs into the club. He goes like, dude, I don't know any of these songs. And I'm like, Mike, don't worry about it. Let's just have fun. And we played like one song, and then I turned around, we looked at each other and was like, great. This is
Yeah.
going to
It
be
was
all. This
super
is
bad.
awesome. It
So
just
my
clicks.
brother Chad plays in like every awesome like cover band, or he does a really cool original cover thing. He's a really well known, respected musician, and for a minute he'd been telling me, I got to introduce you to Bjorn, I got to introduce you to Bjorn.
Mhm.
It was rad, but then it was like, stuff for you and what cover band, which is like 4 sets, 50 songs, like wow.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
different, but it was awesome to meet Bjorn. It was really unexpected to I met, as soon as Bjorn cranked up his rig, that growl came out. I was like, oh, that's gonna be a great weekend. It's gonna be fun to play because this dude's got it. And he had the same loud, powerful energy through his bass that I felt was what I love to play with. So it was awesome. Thanks
I,
again, Bjorn.
what I got out of that was your poor parents grew up with like two boy drummers. I was like, and you guys are friends. That's good.
The
Two
funny part
drummers.
is that,
I think there's 20 drummers in that family at least,
Really?
right?
well, see, the funny part is, yes, at first you hit it on the nose. There's just two of us. But then, as there's like, in my family, yeah, we're from Mexico, and there's like 9 of us at least. So,
Mhm.
like, when everybody starts having kids, everybody picks up a guitar and sticks. So, yeah,
Mhm.
there's like all of a sudden, all the nieces and nephews play instruments too.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. A musical
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
But it was interesting. So I just want to mention this because we were playing this gig, and I said, Mike, this is great. Would you like to, try out and let's jam and let's do some originals together? And he's like, sure. So I gave him a CD, and I said, well, listen to it and pick a couple of songs that you want to do and come in and jam on. He's like, sure. So a week goes by. I called him. I said, Mike, did you find a couple of songs you'd like to do? He said, yeah, it doesn't matter. I know the whole album.
oh,
So
wow.
he shows up to the jam or audition or whatever you want to call it.
Life in the dark.
Yeah. So he shows up and he's there like an hour before us, although he had to drive 2 hours to get there.
Right.
We walk in, me and the guitar player walk in, me and Rob walk in, and we see smoke coming up behind him. And we're going, did he bring a smoke machine? It turned out it was his espresso machine. He brought an espresso machine, and then he
Wow.
then he lined up mugs for everybody in the band. So he had like 4 mugs lined up for everybody.
That's so cute. You're like, you're in. You're making a cut.
Yeah. he so we start playing the first song, and so in the middle of it, about a minute into it, he stops and he stands up and goes like, hey guys, it doesn't go 2 times before the second pre-chorus, it goes 3 times. Let's do it again. And me and Rob just looked at each other and was like, wow, this guy just gave the gig to himself. He
That's awesome. That's
he's auditioning us just as well.
right, right.
I
So
thought I went out there, just blew the whole thing. I mean, I fool out of myself.
funny. Are you guys going to tour or locally or anything with this new music coming out?
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking to do some shows in Northern California and Southern California in May, and then we're looking to go and do some stuff on the East Coast, and hopefully by next year we'll be doing some stuff in Europe.
Oh,
There
That's
cool.
we go.
the Yeah, and we're looking at Mexico and at some point Asia as well, but we'll one thing at a time.
One
So
continent at a time, right?
one continent at a time, and the whole you know we're putting out the record worldwide digitally, but as far as the physical, it's US and Canada only so far, distributed worldwide. But you know how it is with different continents. As soon as we'll hopefully we'll put out the physical, and we'll do a deal in Japan, and then it'll be easier to go to Japan and tour and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, Japan
I'll
always
take it to Japan.
they've always loved rock, a lot, and so and still.
yeah. And I think this band is like exactly what they want and what they need. We
Right?
have all the little ingredients. Is that I look at the bands that did really well there, and I think we have what they love. And our singer is already well known there. They know of me, and they know of Mike and Rob as well. Um, so I think it would not be a tough market for us. It's just a matter of getting in there and stir in the pot a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Conquering the land of the rising sun.
Yes, I love that place. It's a beautiful place, and
Yeah, and
the
they're so
food and the people and the
and they're very loyal, loyal fans. Um,
yes.
do you guys
I
have?
got to I got to play there. Got to play in Tokyo, Japan, and it was it was like 5 bands. and us from the desert, and everybody's from Japan. And either it's like Slipknot meets Pantera, right? And so the first band goes on, but it was rad. It was beautiful to be out there.
That's great. I can only imagine. Um, I was going to ask you guys, do you have like a favorite song or off the new music, or you like them
The
all?
whole set.
The whole set? Okay, good. You got to hear them all. Um,
You know what? I'll let Mike pick a second song. If you want to play Negative Thoughts, or I'll send you a link. You can listen to the whole record,
yeah,
and,
I'll
and
listen to them all.
I'll have you pick one if you want.
Yeah,
How
because
about that?
I'm gonna play something, either beginning or the end or somewhere, but I'll have links to everything. So do you have how do people find you? You guys have a website or
We do. It's soulsignband.com.
okay. So,
And
and I'll have a link to that too underneath the podcast.
well, so we have all our tour dates on there, and
Oh,
a
good.
merch site where you can get the record and CD, vinyl, or downloads, and people can already pre-order. You know, so that's the where to meet us, and find us as well as Instagram and Facebook and X. We're on X, and we're on formerly known as Twitter, and then we're on TikTok as well. So
And it's just Soul Sign. Your most of your they could find it through Soul Sign probably, right?
yes, yeah, we're pretty much soul. Our handle is pretty much Soul Sign on all of them. I think the TikTok is Soul Sign 8. Somebody's already taken Soul Sign, but
Yeah, because I looked when I was looking on Apple Music, I think it was. I was like seeing a lot of different soul signs, and I didn't know which one was yours, so that's why I texted you, or saying,
oh, okay. That's interesting. I got to
or
look
maybe,
into that.
yeah, I got to look at it a little closer too, because there might have been some songs named Soul Sign, and I didn't, I wasn't going to the right,
Yeah, yeah, that I've seen. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
It's a good name though, you know.
thank you,
It is.
thank
I
you.
like it. I like it.
Yeah, there's been times where would people maybe be confused of what genre of music it is by
Right.
the word soul. So, but then asking the rest of the band like they like it, or other people, friends and fans, and they say they like the name. So it's like, okay, you know.
Yeah, well, it sets you a little bit. It does make you think it's going to be more like kind of soul music in a way, but or a little more mellow. But I think it's kind of nice that it doesn't sound like your typical hard rock kind of band name.
Yeah, that's true. And at the same time, we're not the typical uh, sounding band either.
That's true.
Something we talk about, and when people interview us and stuff like that, it's the whole. We kind of we don't we're not a cookie cutter, and we don't want to be a cookie cutter band. So it's we do what we do, and I think that's the way to go. I think for anyone doing any kind of art, you
Yes,
know,
true
do
and true.
yeah.
I agree. Dude, I think we lost Mike somewhere. Maybe maybe he got
Oh,
hungry.
oh, it got disconnected.
Oh no, no, he's here, but he went away somewhere, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, he's hiding. He got shy.
Yeah.
So your first gig tour, I mean, your first tour dates may be Northern California, you were thinking, right?
Yes. Yeah. That would be. Well, at the end of May. The dates haven't been confirmed yet, but I actually be Southern California first, and then Northern California, all in a row. So
So I'll have to ask my friend James to tell me when to remind me when you guys are on tour, like because he's my little, he coordinates a lot of things for me.
oh, cool. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hook you up with my friends from Soul Sign. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Anyway.
Nice.
Well, listen,
Awesome.
guys. I probably need to cut this off now because we got some things to do. But is there
Yeah.
anything that you want to tell me that you are what are you the most proud of in both of you guys in your musical careers? Is it this band now, or is it others? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's this band. And a band that's finally where you get in a room and you're playing with people, and everybody has mutual respect for one another, and musically and personally. So it's kind of a rare find, actually. really. And as they say, you're never any stronger than the weakest link, and it's so true in a band, you know.
That's so true. What are you saying? You're the weakest link? No.
The weak link. Uh, being not from Los Angeles and being 2 hours away, and you're going, man, the city, and but you grow up desert, you still do music things. But for me, yeah, to answer your question, getting to Los Angeles, meeting professional musicians like Bjorn and Mark and Rob, and being in the same room, and wow, making original music together. Like I could say, I have a record coming out with Bjorn Englen and Mark Bowles and Rob Math. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think about that, and it's really exciting. It's awesome. I'm really proud and thankful for that.
Oh, that's great.
I,
Yeah, and I
it's
think it
my
goes
it's my
both
LA
ways.
thing. I'm like I get to be part of some sort of LA thing. It's Los Angeles, you know. It's really cool.
Well,
I,
Mike,
I think it's all mutual. I think we're all equal as proud and happy to be in a band with one another. I think we everybody feels the same way about Mike. You know, we're really lucky to have him, and so it's a really great band. And I forget what your question was.
I was just
Your
like,
original question.
what, what are you the most proud of? Well, besides Soul Sign,
Oh,
what are you the most proud of?
besides Soul Sign, well, personally, probably, but my years with Yngwie Malmsteen, or somebody I grew up with, him also maybe being from Sweden, but he was always a hero of mine, and I kind of always, when I was a kid, wanted to play with him, and then I forgot, kind of like forgot about it, and I kind of thought I would play with him one day, but it wasn't something that I was like, wasn't my ultimate goal.
Sure.
So I ended up playing with him, and I always thought I'd be a good fit, and it was great 5 years with him touring the world, and just really something I'm very proud of. But I'm proud of playing with, a lot of the people I played with. Uli John Roth is from the Scorpions is still a dear friend of mine, and Tony McAlpine, just incredible musicians, and
Malkapine.
um,
Hmm.
yeah, and I've been with the Dio official Dio band after Ronnie passed away. I joined the band to celebrate the music and continue the legacy, and I've been doing that for 12, 13 years, and that's just been a wonderful ride. And once you're in the family, you're like in the family, and we're like Wendy's kids in a way. That's how she treats everyone. So it's really been cool, and I can't say enough good things about that. And Craig Goldie, in fact, was my teacher when I was at the Musicians Institute. He did like an extracurricular class, elective, I guess you call it,
Hmm.
and it was rock. What did he call it? Music business for rock musicians, rock
Ah,
strategies for success for rock musicians, or whatever. So he had this class, really good class,
and they
curriculum that
need
he
that. Musicians need that.
very much so. There was no music business classes back then at all. His class was the only one, and it would be like 30 people in there, and he would, um, after he'd say something, he'd look around the room, and I had never spoken to him. Maybe ask him questions in class, whatever, and he would look around, and the last person he'd look at, he would do this, and me and him, we call it the look, because
Yeah.
and he would the last person he would look at is me, and he would give me this look of like, I know who you are. And it was kind of like, it was interesting. We kind of had
Dating.
that connection from day one.
Yeah.
And then he's always been really supportive. When I got the gig with Quiet Riot and the gig with Ingve, he was always like, I knew it. And so when they needed a bass player, he was proud to call me, and I was very flattered and honored to be getting the call. So that's been great. That's something I'm very proud of as well. So
He saw the talent in you. It's like he's a rock star.
what, and that's exactly it. Some people used to just have it, and
Hmm.
it's the same thing when we all met. When I met Mike, when I met Rob, when I met Mark, it's like it's you just have it. I remember I met Rob at a music at the NAMM music convention, and he hadn't played a note yet, but we started talking, and I we just knew. And I even told him, I think you play guitar like this. I can get a vibe. And he's like, that's strange. How would you know? And I said, I can sense it.
Yeah. You're right. Your intuition.
Yes, your intuition. That's exactly it. And it's funny when you talk about like all this. you audition people, and auditions are funny because the only audition I got when I did not know anybody in the band was the one would Quiet Riot, but it was the same thing there. It was something about it they just knew. And the vibe when I first met Kevin DeBro and he called me up and it was just I think he just knew. It was weird.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, and then most of the time people get somebody they know, or you get someone not for how they play, but for their energy. When they walk in the room and they shake your hand, you know before they even play a note most of the time. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I'm so glad you guys found each other. You're in sync, you know?
yes, yeah.
We're amigos.
We're brothers for sure.
Your soul
For sure.
brothers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Well,
It's like Swedish Mexicans. It's on.
oh, what's that?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Swedish Mexicans.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Swedish Mexicans. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Swedish Mexican meatballs. What do you call those? What's that? What do you call that meatball soup? The Mexican meatball soup, Mike?
Carne Suisse.
Was he? No, the
Carne Suisse. I'm joking.
Oh,
what's it called? Albondigas? No, what do you call it? The
Albondiga is Albondiga, yeah.
Albondigas. Yeah.
Swedish albondigas.
There you go. Albondigas del Suecos.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on, and I will be linking some stuff under the podcast. Your website, your music, just details, right? How they can get a hold of you guys, where they can find you, all your social media, right?
Awesome.
Right.
And Mike,
super cool.
Keep rocking out there in the desert.
Stay hydrated. Cheers. Love you guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Love you too,
Thanks
brother.
a million.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'll be hopefully seeing you guys soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Hasta pronto.
Bye.
Right. Bye.